if you look at it differently, and if you think, well, actually this is an amazing time to just rest and have no expectations to be anywhere and do anything productive. Welcome to my room that I will be staying in for 2 weeks. I'm officially at the halfway point, so I'm on day 7 today. So I thought I've probably been here long enough to kind of be able to answer a few of your questions, tell you a little bit about my experience, and also just how I'm feeling, because I've heard that day 7 is pretty hard because you feel like you've just got to do all of what you've just done again. So anyway, the room. So I was lucky that I actually managed to get 2 beds, which is awesome because it means the room's just a little bit bigger. Currently I've been sleeping in this bed, but I was thinking maybe in week 2 I might transition to that one. They don't do any housekeeping here, so yeah, let's have some clean sheets. This way I've got my little view, which is actually not a bad view of a lovely tree. The car park area, sometimes I can see some birds. Windows, but they only open up sort of that much, so we don't try to escape. TV, which has been good. I got a bit festive over Christmas and made a Christmas tree with what I had. Thank you, friends, for sending me some gifts. My little library, snacks, fridge, and the bathroom, and I've got a bathtub as well, and in my little isolation hack, which I figured out on the second day because the curtain didn't quite reach the bottom and I ended up flooding the floor, and I thought I can't deal with this for 2 weeks, so I ended up lowering the curtain with coat hangers, and that seems to have done the job perfectly. So if you're in a hotel with that similar situation, give that a go. Okay, so a little rundown on my current experience. So I'm in a managed isolation hotel in Rotorua, which is in the North Island of New Zealand. So the current rules for New Zealand is if you are flying from overseas coming to New Zealand, you have to do 2 weeks of managed isolation in a hotel or in a specific facility. So the reason I'm here is because I was in Sydney in December, and I decided to compete in the Oceani's Olympic qualifier event for climbing, and so when I came back I had to come straight to my isolation. So I'll give you just a quick rundown of like what happened from the plane to arriving to being here. So I flew from Sydney to Auckland on the 22nd of December. And we stayed on the plane, and then we waited for a police officer to then tell us where we were going. So he announced over the intercom that we were all going to Rotorua in Sudima Hotel. And so what happened was we got off the plane, collected our bags, and then they put us straight on a bus. They gave us a little bag of snacks to eat, and it was about a 3-hour journey to Rotorua. I wasn't super stoked about this because I just, had a flight and I was just keen to get into the hotel room, sleep, lie down and just relax. But we don't get to choose where we go. If you're leaving New Zealand and you intend to come back, you have to book isolation before you leave, or else they don't let you fly at the airport, so you have to show that you've got your isolation booking. So on another note, just make sure if you are planning to isolate at some point in the next few months, like go onto the website and just check, because like rooms are booking up and it's going to be super sucky if you've booked, you've looked at flights and stuff and then you haven't looked at isolation and then it's like booked out, because you literally can't fly in if you haven't booked your isolation on the same day as you fly in. So another question I got was about COVID testing and do they test. So what they do here, and I think every other facility in New Zealand, is that they test you on the 3rd day and your 12th day. Okay, if you're negative in both, then they'll release you on your 14th day after your 2 weeks. I was lucky enough to get my COVID test on Christmas Day, so that was good fun. I have had a few before, so it wasn't too unexpected. It was just a little bit uncomfortable for a couple seconds, and then you're fine. It's really not that bad. So yes, I was in isolation over Christmas Day, and yeah, it kind of just felt like any other day in here. The staff were wearing Santa hats and were a bit more cheery. The dinner was really nice. We had roast turkey and like an amazing platter of like desserts and truffles, and like it just looks super fancy. I've had a lot of questions about the food here. So the food ranges, obviously it depends on what hotel you're at. Some are just better than others, but I'll just tell you about the experience I've had at this hotel. So firstly, what happens with the food is that every day there's 3 meals that are served, and what you'll hear is a knock on the door.
Kia ora, room service.
We usually get given like a sheet of menu for the next day, so we can call up in advance and like request a certain meal, like if we want vegetarian or something like that. A couple of times I've opted for the vegetarian meal, and I've said like I don't want dessert, or can I not get, you know, this or something like that, because any food or any items that come into our room, they can't leave our room for our 2 week stay. So I also hate like wasting food knowing that I'm not going to eat it. So a couple of times I've just felt really bad for like throwing away food knowing that it can't be used elsewhere. So you can call up in advance and say, hey, I actually don't want dinner at all. You can get Uber Eats here. So you can order food as long as they can drop it off at reception, and the reception bring it to your door, then that's fine. Also, you can order food from Countdown Deliveries, so you can go online, find your own groceries, and then they'll deliver that for you, and that's all good as well, so that's super. Okay, so outdoor time. So I think every facility is a little bit different. For my experience, we get to walk outside in a sort of car park area. There's a little bit of grass, a couple of trees, and we get a maximum of 30 minutes at a time.
Hello, room 341. Good memory. Thank you. Oh, it's so busy today.
Yeah, it's been interesting to get that 30 minutes of just like seeing other humans, because the rest of the time you're just sitting in your hotel room and you're not interacting with anyone. So it's nice even just to like give people a wave and sort of just, you can chat from like 2 meters apart, and yeah, just know that they're all in the same boat and having like similar experiences. It kind of is quite cool in a way. Do I have a routine? Actually, I made a few rules before I came in here that I've stuck to so far. So one of the rules is that I do set an alarm every morning at 8:30. 8:30 is when breakfast is served, so that's when like you usually hear a knock on your door anyway. So I thought, set my alarm for 8:30 and try to get up at that time every day, just so that I don't like just end up in bed all day. Other rule straight off that is that I have to get changed for the day, so I have to get out of my pajamas and like put on day clothes. So in my mind I transition from, I guess, sleeping in bed and lounging around to like, okay, here's a new day. Another thing is I've tried to have barriers of when I use my devices. So with my laptop, I try to always use that at the desk, because that's when I'm like maybe typing emails or also playing games and stuff. And then when the laptop comes to my bed, that's when I watch movies and then sleep. So I try to have like a bit of a divide, so that each space I've got has kind of a place and I'm not like merging spaces, if that makes sense. That also makes the room seem, I guess, a little bit bigger, because you're kind of like, oh, this is the area I sit and read my book, and then that's the area I eat my meals, you know. So it kind of in a way seems like the space is like a house, even though it's a room. Cost of isolation. So for your 2 weeks, it will cost you $3,100. For any additional people in the same room, I think it's $950. And that has actually already been subsidised by the government, potentially 50%. So a few of you have asked like, how do I stay sane in here? I don't know if I'm staying sane as much as trying to just stay positive and keep spirits high, and in a way just treat this time as like time I'm probably never ever going to have again. Thank you so much if you added me as a friend on chess.com and you've been playing against me, because it's really nice to play against someone that's like a real human or someone that I know online. It's been a really good opportunity for me to not look at the time, look like outside of my window and appreciate the small things. It sounds super cheesy. Yeah, in a way it's been good to just like simplify life. And yeah, I mean, I had a really hectic like 2 months leading up to this, you know. I was traveling around, I was training for my comp, so actually I don't mind just kind of sitting around a bit and not feeling like I have to train and I have to keep fit and active and I have to do yoga and, you know, all that. Like, it's actually been a really good time for me just to rest. Final thoughts. If you are considering going away and then coming back to New Zealand and you kind of put off with the isolation thing, like, fair enough. Like, you know, it's costly. 2 weeks, that's a decent amount of time to be stuck in a hotel room, but it depends on your mindset. You can make it really fun and it could actually be kind of life-changing. You learn a lot about yourself, you learn about what excites you when you've got nothing or no one else to excite you. After like my crazy 2 months I had at the end of this year, I was actually really excited to come into isolation, because it meant that all I had to do was exist here for 2 weeks. I didn't have to get on a train and look at maps and like organise things and schedule people to book in and see. Like, all I had to do was just be here. What am I going to do once I get out of isolation? So I think first thing is find decent coffee. I've just got instant coffee here and it's just not cutting it. And secondly, I think I'm going to enjoy just being able to get in my car and just like drive out of town and just look at some different scenery, to be honest. Like, just have that freedom of being able to drive. is what I miss. Yeah. Thank you for your questions. I hope I answered some of that and gave you some insight and I guess some honest truths about my experience so far in isolation. Yeah, thank you for watching.